Hello guys, I'm Jerome Medina and for today's report, I'm going to tackle about art for art's sake. Cultural capital and symbolic capital are the coin of the art world because one of the central rules in this field is that art is disinterested since the early 19th century. Art has been for art's sake and not for trade or craft. Art for art's sake is a phrase that demonstrates the philosophy that the real value of art and the only true art is separated from any didactic, moral, political, or utilitarian factor. From Bourdieu's point of view, its division into two opposing poles along a continuum of art practice. At one pole, art is produced according to logic which is heteronymous with respect to the wider social field. That is, art produced for commercial success, or for a political imperative, or for some other social need, and which has very little legitimacy in the broader art world. We might think here of advertising, or design, or Soviet realized art, work undertaken to satisfy a commissioning client, not to please the muse, and work which is therefore unlikely to be purchased by an art gallery, except sometimes as a historical curiosity, or displayed in the biennials and triennials held across the globe each year. So, the examples of heteronymous that can be seen in museums like paintings, sculpture, poetry, and etc. So that's are the examples of heteronymous. At the other pole is work which is autonomous with respect to the economic field, the consecrated, or art for art's sake approach, in which it is symbolic capital, or prestige, which is valued, and in which success is determined by the approval of other autonomous producers. Here, we find work done according to the logic identified above: self-consciousness, self-referentiality, a concern with form, and engagement with artistic. So, the examples of autonomous for use for advertisement purposes like logos, endorsements, brochure, magazines, and etc. So that's are the examples of autonomous. Autonomy versus heteronomy. The debate between the opposing logics of autonomy and heteronomy is characterized on the one hand by William Blake's statement that here any view of money exists, art cannot be carried on, and the other by Samuel Johnson's comment that no man but a blockhead ever wrote, except for money. The autonomy of art is sometimes used as a slogan for the view that works for art are devoid of any practical function and thus devoid, as works of art, of instrumental value, meaning it is lack or not having the true essence of an art itself. For Bourdieu, the field of cultural production is comprised of an autonomous and heteronymous sector. A heteronymous sector is one that is interpenetrated by the commercial field. To an extent, both positions are valid and both are limited. Production of art has always depended on position of or access to the necessary economic capital. As we suggest above, it is only those who can afford to please themselves who don't have to take into account the need to satisfy some sort of market or social demand, as well as the demands of art. And the idea that art can or should be free from social necessity is comparatively recent. It was not until the 18th century that art began to assume the status of creativity and originality, of sometimes separate from everyday life and from the interest of politics or economics. The idea of art is polarized along the autonomous or heteronymous continuum really only works for art made within a Western tradition. So, so this is uh, the questions for you guys that I prepared. Number one, what does art for art's sake really mean? Number two, what is the difference between autonomy and heteronomy approach? Number three, what is the art made from Western tradition? Number four, who explains the logic of two opposing poles? Number five, what are the coin of the art world? So, this is the five questions I prepared for you guys. I hope you will listen well. Good luck and God bless.